you find it doesn't have to be you're doing something productive that isn't, entertaining. It's like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. Find something productive that you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a hobby.
Yeah. And I think with that too, I think where a lot of guys get messed up is thinking that everything that you do has to be just for financial benefit.
Yeah.
Because like there are plenty of things that you can do that it's not necessarily going to make you money, but it is still doing something. You're still keeping active,
Yeah.
Like with working out. Nobody pays you to go to the gym. Like you're paying to do it. But it's so much better for you in the long run because it makes you feel better. You stay healthier.
Yeah.
Like, so looking at benefits, not even just financial, because I think that's where a lot of guys can get it twisted,
3, 2, 1. All right. Well, today's the first episode of my podcast. I'm Joshua Smith, and we're here today with No Predmore, who's going to be joining us on this one. And today, what we're going to be talking about is, are you being a passive man or an active man? And what that looks like, going over what that looks like, and how to get through that. My first point is what it means to be a passive man and what it means to be an active man. A passive man is just one that doesn't want to take charge and kind of just doesn't take the lead. Someone that's kind of just not taking up the role of what a man should be. And an active man is basically the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Someone that just is always, taking the lead and doing what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. They're putting themselves out there, having, walking with confidence and whatnot.
Yeah. I would say onto that too, there is, even to an extreme, I would say there are some men that are, they take the lead when they don't need to. And there's a difference between taking the lead and being a tyrant, I think. And I think even tyranny is a form of passivity.
All right. Yeah. 3 ways that you could identify if you're being a passive man is, my first point, how do you spend your time? Are you being productive? Like, are you playing video games in your free time? Are you spending it scrolling through TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just, spending it watching movies and whatnot, just doing nothing at all? How are you spending your time? And the book I really like is Hard Times Create Strong Men.
Mm-hmm.
And in it just talks about they didn't have time to be bored, They never had time to say, oh, I don't have anything to do, I don't this and that, I'm bored, what do I do? They didn't have video games back then, anything. What they did was they'd, go out, do work. They'd be out there, plowing fields, hunting for meat and stuff like that. They'd be, tending their wives and children. They never had time to say, I'm bored.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. I think when you don't have something to do, like men are they're created with a purpose, and that purpose is to work. Whether that work is you are in an office, or even if that work is just taking care of your family, you're supposed to be doing something with your life.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like you talked about, like playing video games and stuff in your downtime. I think in moderation, obviously, like most things, that's healthy. Yeah. But the issue with that is, like, video games are known to give you a false sense of accomplishment. That's what men need, is we need to have that accomplishment. And like when you're working with your hands, or if you're after a work day, you feel like, okay, I've done something. That paycheck hits your bank account, I've done something.
Yeah.
But video games is just a way of, like, you're doing these things that don't actually matter in the real world, but you get that false sense of, yeah, I accomplished something today.
Yeah. Which
obviously I'm not saying anything necessarily against that, because every now and then I play video games too, but it doesn't need to be this thing that you do every single day, because it's just going to make you feel like you don't have to accomplish anything.
Yeah, it's like false dominion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, I'm okay with video games. I used to be a big gamer. Back
yeah,
in the day.
same.
I'd be playing Borderlands 3, I'd be playing Call of Duty, everything.
Yeah.
But it just caused me to, it wasn't a good thing, because then I'd come home and be like, I'd get back from school, like, I want to play some video games, whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'd spend 8 hours on my PS4, on my PC, playing video games and stuff like that. I used to have times where, if my parents weren't home, let's say they'd go on like a trip or something like that, I'd spend all day on
Yep.
my video games just because there wasn't anybody there to tell me, oh, get off it and stuff like that. And I didn't understand. I was like, hey, I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
But when you're on that, is causing something like you're thinking that you're getting, what's the word? I can't think. Like, you're thinking that you're accomplishing something when you're spending all your time there. You know, it's rotting your brain. The more you feed it, the more you're gonna think about it. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, I need to be on it. I need this and that and whatnot. And it's just causing laziness.
Yeah.
Hey, it's fine if you want to play 30 minutes, an hour, or whatnot. But if you're saying, oh yeah, well, as soon as I get free time, I'm gonna play like 2 hours, 3 hours. That's not accomplishing anything. You're being unproductive. And as a man, you should be putting in work. You should like go on, you know, do something physical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work out, anything.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've noticed in myself, I like you said, I used to play video games a lot, man. It was the only thing that I did. But over time, I kind of stopped. I stopped feeding that as much and stopped doing it, and I started focusing into more things like working out and working and, you know, working more hours at my job and reading and doing different things like that, you know. And now, like, honestly, I don't even have my Xbox set up. I have it in a box. I'll get it out once every 6 months, maybe, and I'll play for like a week. I'll play a couple hours a day. But honestly, like, since I've stopped doing it so often, it just isn't the same because, you get that sense of like, okay, yeah, I did something, but it's not, there's no real world reward for it. And so I've stopped even caring about it as much, and not necessarily saying, oh, you have to work a 60-hour-a-week labor job to feel accomplished or to be a man. But if you're putting all your time into that, there's really nothing coming of it. Like, and I play music and I make music, and I spend a lot of time doing that. Because honestly, that even if I'm not doing anything with it, I'm just creating it for myself. That's something I can look back at and be like, oh, look, I did this. It's not just like, oh yeah, I beat this game that everybody else has beat. You know, it's like I've accomplished something, and I can show what I made from my effort. You know, and I think that's important, is having something to show.
Yeah, having the fruit to show.
Exactly.
From your work.
Yeah, not even for anybody else, but just for yourself. To be like, this is what I accomplished today. This is what I did. Same way, like, if you work and you work some overtime, you know, and in the moment, like, this freaking sucks. I would rather be at home. Like, I want to go to sleep. I want to do anything else but be here. But that paycheck hits your bank account and you have a couple extra $100 and you're like, yeah, you know, that's worth it. You know?
I get you.
Because you have that fruit.
Yeah, see, that's one thing I love about, now I've kind of like worked on my work ethic.
Yeah.
And it's more of the same drive that I had when I used to play video games. I'm like, I need to get this next achievement. I need to get this next level. And I need to work towards that because then I can get this, that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing now just with my work. I switched it over to that being my drive for my work. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to work, I'm going to get money from this and I can get what I want. You know, I can go out, I can buy clothes, I can buy, you know, anything I want. I can buy food if I want to eat out and whatnot. I don't have to worry about, oh, is it going to put me back, you know? I mean, every now and then there are, you know, costs that take up that, but it's still, you know, I'm able to do that without having to be like, well, I don't have any money at all. I don't have anything at all. I've been playing video games and whatnot. So it's the same thing with like working out. You're working on yourself and then you have the fruit to show for that, which is, you know, obviously like you get big muscles. You turn into Popeye. You turn into Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah.
And with that too, like, I've noticed in the more that I work on things that are in real life, my confidence goes up too.
Yeah.
And because like when I played video games, like in the moment, I'm like, this is fun. But afterwards, I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment. After I logged off, like 10 minutes later, I'm like, what? My life sucks. I hate everything, you know? But, you know, you get a good workout and you feel sore the next day. But in your mind, you're like, you know, it hurts and it sucks.
It's a good sore though.
But something deep down inside of you is like, dang, I feel good, you know?
Yeah.
Because like for myself, like I starting in September, I was about 250 pounds. I'm now at I think 215 when I weighed in the other day. And dude, I feel so much better because I've been able to put the work in, and I've been putting in time to learn about eating correctly, learn about working out, and not necessarily that has to consume everything. but like just putting in just a little bit of time to do that, and I haven't even felt the desire to play video games or do that kind of stuff, just because I'm like, okay, I have better things I could be doing that will make me so much happier, you know.
You're just keeping that, being active and
Yeah.
putting in the work,
Mm-hmm.
not staying
Exactly.
still.
Yeah.
And you've come a long way. I've seen you do a lot with your diet as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, putting in and then asking questions to other people around to try to, you know, fulfill that
Mm-hmm.
and get your goal, rather than just sitting being like, oh, I can't lose weight, I can't do this. You know, some people are like, it's easier for them, they're skinny,
Yeah.
it's their genetics and stuff like that. But you actually put in your work, and I saw you ask a lot of questions to other people, you know, ties, other
Mm-hmm.
people asking for, you know, tips on your diet and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's something I really admired about you, as well as you're putting in the work afterwards. So
Mm-hmm.
we might have had some days where we had, like, you know, morning workouts in the
Yeah.
morning, and you still went in the afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I said, like, you know, being an active man is, even when it's not required, you're still putting in the work.
Yeah.
You're still trying to better yourself, you know.
Yeah, dude, I've noticed you growing that a lot too. Because I know, like when we first got here, I like, no offense or anything, obviously, but like I noticed like you were like you'd get in from class and you'd go to your room. I didn't really see you.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what this guy's doing. Like we would talk every now and then. I'd see you in the kitchen, and then I haven't seen Josh, you know.
Yeah.
But I've noticed like you've been putting in the work too. Like, and even like you were already like you're already pre-cut. Like dude, you're like, after your bulk that you've been going on has been crazy, dude. And like with your stuff, like with your grilling and stuff, like you're just throwing down ribs and stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now everybody in the dorms is like, oh yeah, Josh can cook, you know.
Yeah.
And just think about that too, like even things like that, like learning how to cook well, which you already knew a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like learning more, just continuing to grow. Now you're able to make some money off that,
Yeah.
and like there's something you can bring. Like, look, Ayo, come taste my ribs that I just made. Like everybody, the second that we see that you're grilling, everybody's like lining up to eat the food that you made, because it's like it's good. So it's cool, you know.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
hobbies that aren't just, you know, stuff that produce.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to like cook, you want to exercise, you want to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's something productive, something that brings in,
Yeah.
you know, you have, for example, like David Hogan,
Mm-hmm.
he does his woodwork that he
Yeah.
does, and that
He's so sick.
he's bringing money for that. He finds that fun. See,
Mhm.
you find it doesn't have to be you're doing something productive that isn't, you know, entertaining. It's like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. Find something productive that you like
Yeah, absolutely.
a hobby.
Yeah, and I think with that too, I think where a lot of guys get messed up is thinking that everything that you do has to be just for financial benefit.
Yeah.
Because like there are plenty of things that you can do that it's not necessarily going to make you money, but it is still doing something. You're still keeping active, you know?
Yeah.
Like with working out, nobody pays you to go to the gym. Like you're paying to do it, but it's so much better for you in the long run because it makes you feel better. You stay healthier.
Yeah.
Like, so looking at benefits, not even just financial, because I think that's where a lot of guys can get it twisted, you know? So I think that's super important.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I really wanted to get into is I really want to get into carpentry,
Yeah.
because, like, this is going off topic, but, you know, as long as you have that, you know, that sense of you're learning that, the more you learn, the more you can do for yourself. So in the long run, it also saves you money learning that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, putting in work to learn that.
Yeah.
Then, like, hey, you get a house. You don't want to call somebody to pay for that. You know?
Yeah.
As a man, you should be learning. You should be putting in that time, your free time, to learn that kind of stuff. So that way, you know, you're able to do stuff. You don't want to be like, your wife wants you to change the toilet, and you're like, oh, well, better call the plumber.
Mhm.
No, she should be able to rely on you, you know.
Yeah, dude. That's one thing that I'm really, really grateful for. My dad is he's in construction. He's a project manager, but he was a general contractor for a while. But he just has this knowledge of everything. It feels like, for like home stuff, and there's so many things, like little things that I've talked to even like guys here that they didn't know how to fix that, and I'm like, oh, I just kind of like happened to see my dad doing it, and I learned how to do it. Like Like, dude, I know guys that have, like, one of my buddies back home just texted me the other day, and he had to pay a plumber an absurd amount of money to come and clean his drain out because he didn't know how to take the stopper and stuff apart. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's something my dad taught me when I was like 12. Not to be like, oh, look at how cool I am, but just like learning those things for yourself. Yeah. Because, dude, I cannot tell you how many times I've like, because back home, it's me, my dad, my mom, and then 2 sisters and a little brother. There's so much freaking hair in that sink, dude. Like, but because my dad taught me how to do that, I'm like, oh, I can just take that apart. I don't need to call somebody every time that I need to fix something, you know? Yeah. Like light switches and stuff. I know how to replace light switches because so if something goes out, I don't have to call somebody. Yeah. And it saves you time, it saves you money. And plus, like, again, that sense of accomplishment that you get from, like, dude, like, I think, I'm trying to think, I think it was like maybe 14, 15, something like that. I remember I was so proud because my, one of the lights in our kitchen had went out. And so I changed the light bulb, and I came home, my mom came home, and I was like, Mom, I changed the light bulb. And, dude, I was like, look how cool I am, dude. Like,
I'm the man.
It's just a light bulb. It's not hard, but it's so nice to be like, I did something for my family, you know? Yeah. And it's cool. So definitely, like, learning how to do stuff. I think the carpentry thing is awesome.
Yeah. That's, that sense of accomplishment is definitely, like, when they set responsibility on you as a man, like, you're like, okay, well, it's making you feel more, you know, like, more reliable, I guess.
Yeah.
Kinda. So, like, you don't want to be that person where they ask you to do something and then you're like, you have to say, I don't know how to do that. They ask you to do something else. I don't know how to do that. Mm-hmm. Because it's just, well, for me, it's just embarrassing saying,
yeah,
I don't know how to change a light bulb. I don't know how to screw in a light bulb. I don't know how to, you know, change a fixture on a wall or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that, like, I understand that some people don't know, like, electrical and stuff like that, but
yeah,
it's, you know, you get a lot of, you know, internal victories from just saying, oh, I'm able to do that. I'm able to do, you know, fix a toilet or something like that. But
yeah, that's super important. I think just learning a basic knowledge of stuff, and that's something that I've loved about this program that we're doing here, is that they've given us that kind of that basic knowledge of stuff. Yeah. Because I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with like not knowing, but yeah, there is something in like if it's like a basic thing like that, you're like, man, I really feel like I should know that, and so it's like. Not knowing it sucks, you know? Yeah. So just that's another thing that you can do. Just take your time and like as stuff like, I'm not saying you have to go and get an electrical degree or, you know, go to trade school or something. But like for me, it's been like, oh, hey, the flapper on the toilet is broken. My dad, all right, let's go. I'm gonna show you how to fix it, you know? Like learning as things go. So then the next time that comes up, it's easy, you know? Yeah. Go learning as you go.
Yeah, you don't have to know everything. Mm-hmm. Just if you're able to, you know, you're supposed to have that hunger to learn.
Yeah,
you know, to at least learn a little bit into a lot of things, so you know kind of, you know, what you need to know. Because then, say you don't know anything about cars, you take your car to a mechanic just because it has one little noise, and then you find out that it's something you could change. It's something you could just went to the store, bought for like $20. Yeah, and then change it.
Yeah, but absolutely. Yeah. And I'll admit that's one thing that I'm really trying to learn about right now because I have an old vehicle. I really don't know a whole lot about cars. Like, I know how to change spark plugs. I know how to check my oil. I know how to like check things, but I don't know how to fix a whole lot. And so it's like I'm trying to learn how to do all that right now because I do have an old vehicle. I keep having things break on it. I'm like, all right, I don't want to have to go buy a new vehicle, and I don't want to pay $1,000 to get something fixed on my vehicle that is maybe worth $3,000, you know? And so it's like, all right, I'm just going to learn how to do it myself as I go, which, I mean, we live in such a good age for that too. Like, literally anything.
Go to YouTube.
Just go to YouTube or, like, yeah, dude, just Google it and you can figure out the answer to anything. It makes everything so much more achievable. Yeah. So.
YouTube's your friend.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, another thing I wanted to say is kind of like there's a Bible verse, you know, John 17:4, where it says, I glorified you on earth, having accomplished the work that you gave me to do. And just going off that is like we glorify God by, you know, putting in work and not just staying passive. You know, God called us to be active men, to be leaders, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to lead women and children and lead up the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying that, you know, women can't lead, but I'm saying God placed us in this role to be able to be like, okay, well, we're showing that, you know, we're being, you know, like examples.
Yeah.
God. You know, we're showing we're being active then.
Absolutely.
Being leaders.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the first thing that God told man to do was to tend the garden, you know, and work was there before the curse, you know, but before the fall of man, work was the thing. We were tending the garden. We were naming the animals. That's what man was designed to do. That's what Adam was told to do. And it only became a burden after the fall of man, you know, and so that is still something that we're supposed to do. It is a good thing. That's how we honor the Lord, is by working.
Yeah.
And so, and I think too with that, it is the role of man is kind of a servant leadership too. It's not a hey, everybody follow me, bow down to me kind of thing, which is where you kind of get into the tyrant thing. But it's a servant leadership of, all right, it is my duty. I want to help those around me, so I'm going to do this for them. I'm going to lead from a place of I want to help, not I want to be helped.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. The next point I want to get across is, you know, how do you enter into things? Are you entering into like anything with a heart of laziness or a heart to get it, you know, do your best? Do put in 101%.
Yeah.
You're giving it your all, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things that men struggle with that I feel like doesn't get brought up enough is apathy. We are so prone to it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of been a thing for generations. It's not even necessarily just this generation, but we are all prone to apathy, where we are hardwired to find excuses not to do something, you know, which sometimes can help because it helps us find the better, faster solution. But that is something you have to fight in yourself is, all right, like, I'm not going to call in today, which is something that I have recently started like really pushed for. Because like, dude, I was the guy that I woke up and like at like 5 a.m. to go to work and I'm like, nope, not feeling it. So I'd call in. I don't know how my job didn't fire me, dude. I called in like, I think I worked there for 6 months and I called in 10 times. And so I was that guy, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not okay, you know.
It's gotta change.
It's gotta change,
Yeah.
you know. Because also there was days like, because I worked outside, and so they would, if it rained, we didn't work, and so there'd be days like what really did it for me is like I called in for 2 days, and then it rained the rest of the week, and the next week I didn't have a paycheck. And I was like, oh yeah, that sucks, you know. And so, not even just for the sake of a paycheck, but like doing that, I wasn't productive at all that day. I would just lay around and I felt worse about myself because I just laid it in at home all day. I had nothing to do.
Because it's not also your paycheck, because then that also goes later on in life. So you have kids, and they want, you know, kids is like a 24/7 job.
Oh yeah.
Having kids. So you have to tend to, you can't be like, oh, I don't want to get up today. I'm going to, you know, just stay away from my family. Your, you know, your social, what's it called?
Your social battery.
Yeah, your social battery is drained. And you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be here anymore. You can't. That's your family, unless, you know. But, yeah. No, we're not supposed to, it's not for us then.
Exactly.
Like, as men, this isn't about us. It's about, you know, other people. It's also about being a leader and being a servant and serving others. It's not about you, you know?
Exactly. I think the mindset of no matter what stage of life you're in, life is not about you.
Yeah.
You know, I think the biggest thing that you can do is to realize that life is about serving God and serving others. And so even a lot of guys are like, oh, well, I'm single right now, so I don't really have any responsibilities other than to just be like for myself. And I think that's honestly a huge lie that we've told ourselves. Because when you're single, that is the best time to start growing. Like you need to push hard because you want like for me, my personal goal in life is to push really hard now, so that someday when I do get married and have kids, I can spend more time with them. You know, if I can get things rolling and I can start growing now, then in the first few years of my kids' lives, they can have a father who is present in the home and is there and can teach them things. You know, but I'm also still providing. You know.
Yeah, and it's also is preventing what mistakes could happen. You're growing ahead of time to get rid of stuff, so that way you don't have to be fixing everything in the go later on when it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like when you go into like work, you don't want to go into it with just this is where I was put, I'm gonna get this, and this is all I have to do. It's more of you want to put your best into that area. So if you're working a cash register at like a grocery store or something like that, and that's your only station, you're only responsible for that, but you see like somebody dropped a glass of tomato sauce, like a little jar of tomato sauce on the ground, and it's in the way and some old lady's coming along, you're not just going to watch that. You're going to clean up and try to, because you're responsible for your area, but it's also for other people. You're supposed to pick up for other people. So when you're going into anything, it's not just, I'm going to do my part and get it over with. It's I'm going to do my part and more if there's there.
Yeah, I think with that too, it's really important to keep in mind that don't do anything as if you're doing it for man. Do it for God. Like if you're working the cash register, you're not going to cash register and you're not submitting to Walmart. That's not where you're at. You're submitting to the Lord. The Lord has you working at Walmart. And so if that is your job, then you're gonna go in with the mindset of, okay, I'm doing what I need to be doing right now. It's not I have to do it, and I've been in that mindset a lot, and I still have to fight that. There are days where I get work and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. And then I'm like about to text somebody like, no, sorry, I can't come. I'm like, no, this is what I need to do. And I think about the benefits of it too, because it's not just going to get it over with. You're thinking, okay, if I can focus right now on being the best dang like cash register worker that I can be, then all right, that discipline is going to carry me into more things in life. And so I think just with that, it is really hard to get out of the mindset if you're thinking about yourself. And so thinking about, okay, I'm doing this for the Lord. I'm doing this for my future family. I'm doing this for like generations to come, because that's the thing that I've had to think about a lot too, because I come from a long line of like very, very messed up family. And so thinking about that, I'm like, okay, so somewhere way back there, some great grandpa or something started this chain of just recklessness, And so I'm trying to, my dad really started it in our family of like, all right, we're going to change the dynamic of what we're doing here as men. And so I'm trying to help, usher that in. So really considering, okay, what do I want my family to look like 5 generations from now? And make my decisions based off of that. Do I want my great grandkids to all be, alcoholics and lazy and not have anything? No, I want them to be good people who serve the Lord and who are doing well in life, and they're fulfilled, And so I want to do that in myself, so I can instill that in my kids, and then they can instill that in theirs, and so on and so forth.
You start a new chain.
Starting a new chain. And so I think even if you don't come from a family that thinks that way or doesn't carry themselves in such a way of they're going to make things different for themselves, then I think that is honestly such an awesome thing to do. It's hard, but it's an amazing mantle to have.
Yeah. It's definitely something that you want. You want your kids to be people that are hard workers. You want to start where it says your kids are hard workers, their kids are hard workers. Other people around you would say, oh yeah, he's a great man. He's hardworking, he's this, he's that, all positive things, rather than saying, oh, well, he kind of just gets his job done, and that's it. He kind of just, he's up, he's in, and he's out.
Yeah, exactly.
You want them to be able to say, just, you go beyond, you go above and beyond. Yeah, but definitely. Another thing is, you need to quit complaining and man up.
Yeah.
As a man, we're not supposed to be saying, oh, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that. Just be an active man, and you don't have to always bring in the negative. Be like, oh, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, because then that's going to come off on other people around you. Yeah. If you keep saying you're tired, you're this, you're that, words have meaning. The tongue holds a lot of power.
Yeah.
Like it says in the Bible. So if you're always speaking death around those around you, that's what you're going to bring into the room. You come in the room with a gloomy attitude. You just had a 16-hour shift the day before. It's 6 a.m. You come back into the workplace and you're saying, you come with a gloomy attitude. Because of that, everyone else, that's going to rub off on everybody else around you.
Yeah, that's super important. Because I was having a conversation with our RA the other day, and we were talking about one of the roles of men is to instill identity in people. I never thought about it that way, but it kind of clicked, like, when you're doing, like, because I was thinking about these questions and you sent them to me, it's like, when you're like, I'm tired, that's putting an identity on yourself. And when you're like, you're talking, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I hate everything here, I hate this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. All of those things are going to instill that in those people around you and be like, you know what, I'm tired too. And even if you're just thinking, like, in this moment I'm tired, but I'll be good after I get some rest, like, to them, they're not hearing it that way. So the people who around you are going to see how you're talking, especially if you're a leader type person, which you should aspire to be. They're going to see that and be like, oh, well, yeah, I'm tired too. And if you're getting apathetic, they're getting apathetic. What you do in, what does Lucas say?
What you do in moderation, they'll do in excess. Yeah,
exactly. So if you're complaining, they're going to act the way that you're complaining, Yeah. So you're like, I'm tired. They're going to say they're tired and they're going to act tired, And so I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling those ways.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Exactly. Like, your feelings are okay, just not everybody needs to hear about them,
Yeah.
I think, if you're sitting with one of your best friends and you're sitting there like, dude, I'm worn out, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about them either. I never want to be that guy who's like, oh, you can't talk about your feelings. But, like, just not everybody, you don't need to be, every person that talks to you does not need to know that you're tired and exhausted.
Yeah. Kind of like what Paul said about how if you have, an injury or something like that, you're not going to go around, saying it as like a bad thing or saying it as just a complaint. You're saying it because you want people to, put prayers over you or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you're going to tell every single person, yeah, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that. Mm-hmm. And you have the power to say something positive instead. If you're tired, hey, just be like, yeah, I'm getting through it. I'm getting through the day. Yeah. If somebody asks you, how are you feeling? I'm getting through the day. You don't say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. You see the difference there. Yeah. There's more a positive outlook of it, or you could just take the negative route. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like pushes on everybody. That's what I like what Miss Hetty told me about that. She told me, she said, don't say you're tired, because then that's going to put it on me. And then I'm going to start focusing on mine, kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to be mindful of your words. Your words, they have a big meaning around those around you. Mm-hmm. Like, you could think you don't have that big of influence, but if I saw my dad say that every single time he get back from working, it's hard. If I see him say that, I would think, yeah, work is a bad thing. If that's what he's feeling every single day, then why should I work? Or why would I want to work,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But, yeah. A verse that I really like about this is Philippians 2:14-15. Do everything without complaining or arguing. Then you will be innocent and without any wrong. You'll be God's children without fault. But you are living with crooked and mean people all around you, among whom you shine like stars in the dark world. Mm-hmm. If I came in a room, we just had Olympics. We're all sleep deprived,
Yeah.
And if I came in And, obviously, we were all tired. We were all saying we're tired. But if I just came in and said, I can't wait for this to be over, this needs to end now, whatnot, and I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to say that. The only times I said that was at night when it was very late. I was like, I'm tired. I think we should, take a rest from this and recuperate ourselves.
Yeah.
But if I said that during the day through every single game, you'd see everybody would just be like, well, don't talk to him. He's just going to say he's tired. He's this,
Yeah.
I was trying to keep a positive attitude. I was cheering even though I was on the brink of falling asleep just sitting there.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not what we're here for. As a team, we have to, build each other up, and we're trying to, we cheer for each other, even if we're tired.
Exactly. And also, I don't know if you get this way. I get this way. That's just because I'm kind of a jerk sometimes. But, if I'm tired and somebody comes up to, I'm so tired. I'm like, yeah, we're all tired. So who cares? Not to say that it's, not to invalidate people, but it's just yeah, that's kind of just what it is, Because also, saying you're tired doesn't fix anything.
It's not going to change.
It doesn't change. It's not like I'm tired. Oh, I'm fully awake now. I'm well rested. It's all it does is just put that in your own mind, and it just is gonna get into your head. And it really doesn't change anything. Complaining changes nothing.
Yeah. Because the more you think on it, the more you're going to keep focusing on it and noticing it. So that's what, yesterday, we were playing, games or whatnot. We'd be up early. I was hungry as heck. Dude, I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat lunch.
Yeah.
Because we got up at 6 a.m., started practicing.
I think you got up at 5:30.
I woke up at 5:40.
Yeah.
Because originally it was going to be 5 o'clock, but I set my alarm at 5:40 because I really need this sleep if I'm going to get through the day.
Because after going to bed at 1.
Yeah, and I wanted to make breakfast. I was like, hey, at least food's going to get me through it, but we didn't have time for that.
Yeah.
And all through the first half of the morning, I was just continuously thinking about it, and then I stopped myself, caught myself. I was like, okay, just don't think about being hungry anymore. Just, focus on what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, I just kind of forgot about it. I went through until 3 o'clock in the afternoon before I finally ate. I didn't even notice. And that's just, the more you think on it, the more it's going to, be apparent to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, you need to die to yourself and kind of quit thinking about you. If you continue thinking about you, you're going to miss out on everything that's happening around you,
Yeah.
on those around you. So if I was, let's say I have really bad back pain and every single day, everything I'm doing, all I'm thinking about is I have back pain. I'm going to miss out on the people around me that are, praying for me. I'm going to miss out on their prayers, their intercession,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're speaking life over yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I think as men, we do have this, we have this ability to, because men's minds are more compartmentalized, and so we do have this ability to just be like yesterday, I didn't eat breakfast or lunch either, and I was like, my approach to it, obviously it's gonna sound corny or whatever, but it's it is what it is.
It is
kind of approach, and it's not to suppress feelings or whatever, but it's just literally all right, well, there's nothing I can do about that right now, so we're just gonna focus on this other thing. I was like, we got crap to do, so that's the last thing I'm gonna think about right now, because I'm hungry, but I'm not starving. I'm not gonna die, so I'm good. I gotta focus on what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really important to keep in mind, is that sometimes you just got to put it to the back of your mind, whatever the thing is that is trying to control you.
Yeah. Because, back in the day, they had, men would go through war without having food. They'd have, or they'd have expired bread, stale bread, expired meat and whatnot. They'd go through war and get through it with just that. They wouldn't have time to complain about this or that.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be, focusing on, hey, they had their friend die in war.
Mm-hmm.
they can't complain while they're there. Complaining is not going to win the war.
Mm.
It's them getting through that and moving on to the next step.
Yeah.
You know, and like for example, ancient Vikings, they used to have, you know, they'd go out, they'd lose like 20 people in one fight. They'd come back and they weren't able to be like, oh no, they'd have to lead their sons, and they'd obviously, you know, the mothers would lead the daughters, but they'd have to be able to lead their sons. They wouldn't be able to show weakness and be like, oh well, you know, my friend died, you know, I'm also very tired, we just got through war. I'm not saying anything on the grief thing, by the way. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm saying as in they didn't have time to show, you know, complain and like grief over that in front of their sons, because they want their sons to be able to keep their cool as a man when they get older. They want to be able to show them that you need to be strong, you need to be able to, you know, overcome things without looking at it negatively and focus on what's to come instead of sticking on the past.
Yeah, I think there's a huge difference between being strong and being hardened.
Yeah.
You know, and being strong is like this thing that happened really sucks. And like you're hurting a lot, but you're like, and you're in front of the people that you're leading. You're not breaking down and crying because again, as a man, you have this lead, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's never been a time, which has only happened a few times that I've ever seen my dad cry. There's never been a time where he cries that everybody else in the room doesn't cry. You know, because like it's this weird thing that we're all kind of programmed to. Once we see dad cry, I'm gonna cry too, you know? Yeah. But also in the flip sense of like, okay, like, cause for kids especially, it's like they're looking at you for how they should react, you know? And so it's like, as a father, you're going to have to learn how to be like, all right, yeah, I have to, right now, my responsibility is my family. And so I'm making sure they don't fall apart. I'm going to be strong right now. And then later, that's when you can be like, you can go to your wife or, you know, honestly, the best thing you can do though is go to the Lord and be like, look, I'm hurting right now. This sucks.
Yeah.
And this and this and this happened. And just, I'm struggling right now. But that's, you don't need to go to your kids and be like, kids, I'm just really feeling depressed lately. I'm struggling and doing all this stuff. Because what are they going to do for you, you know? Like,
you find comfort in the Lord.
Yeah, exactly. You find comfort in the Lord. And that's, like, your job as a man is to, like, be a rock.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's all I have today. But
yeah,
it was good, you know, just talk.
Yeah.
With you.
Good talking.
Well, hope you guys liked it.